started. So today we're going to continue with where we stopped yesterday, which is JavaScript if statement. So yesterday we looked at how to compare things. We looked at if and we looked at if else. So today we are going to look at if else if. If else if, and let's discuss why or what is the difference between if else and if else if. So I will delete everything here. Also, I'll remove everything here too. Now, you use if else if whenever you want to do different things based on different conditions. Now, with if, you only want to do one thing if a condition is met. With if else, you want to do two things if either of two conditions are met. With if else if now, you want to do different things based on different conditions. Let me give an example. Let's say I have num as 4. So I can say if num equals 6, alert hello world. Then I come here and say if, now according to what you did yesterday, you just put else, meaning if this condition is not met, it automatically comes to the else. But with the else if you put another condition here, if this is not met, then it will check the condition here. So I can say if num is equal to 8, I can say alert let's say good morning. Then else if, so the else if can be as long as you want it to be. If num is equal to, let's say 10, alert good night. Okay. So let's assume this is 6. So what do you think it's going to alert here? Hello. Please, what do you think it's going to alert here?
What?
Hello world, good. Now if this were to be 8, okay, thank you. So if this were to be 8, what do you think is going to alert?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good. If this were to be 10, then it will alert good night. Good.
Good night.
Good. Thank you, sir. Now if this were to be 4, what do you think it will alert? Or what do you think it will do?
Yes. None of the above.
Good. None of the above. You are getting it. Next is, imagine this. Let's change this to 10, but we change this condition to num less than 8. Now, oh sorry, num greater than 8. Let's say this is 12. So, now this condition is 2. This condition is also 2. Num is 10, and num is also greater than 8. Now, what do you think it will do?
Hello, what?
Good. Hello.
May I like good morning?
Okay, good night. Okay. Now, what happens?
As we do both.
Okay, so we do both. Okay. Now, all of us actually have points. Now, but the way it's going to work is this. Look at this word if. If means if this condition is true, then do this. Now, then we have this else. Else means that provided this is not met, then come here. That's the meaning of else. That's the meaning of else. If this one is not met, that's when it will come here. And if this is not met, that's when it will come here. That means if this is met, then it won't come here. Do you understand? Are we getting it?
Yes, sir.
So based on that, it will only alert hello world. That's because the only instance or the only reason why it will come to this place is if this one is not met. So if this condition is met, it won't come to this else.
Okay.
So for that reason, it will only alert hello world. Let's run it on the browser. Hello world. Okay. Let's move on. Now, there may be some, maybe you want a situation whereby if none of it is met, you still want to do something. That is, if none of them, you can now end it with a final else. This one will not have any if. That is, if none of them is met, then do this final else. I can say alert, maybe by. So if you have a value like 2 here, 2 doesn't meet any of these 3 conditions. For that reason, it will alert by. So note that this is a final else. This, in fact, whenever you put else, you can't put another else if again. This else is to close everything. But if you don't close it, you can put as many else if as you want. Else means provided none of them is met, then do this. Now, let's proceed. I'll come here and put, okay, I'll move this, come here and put if none is equal to 2. Alert. Okay, let me just alert my name. Then I'll come here and change this to less than. Now, what do you think this will give us? This condition is met, and this is also met. What do you think it will do?
Good morning.
Now, I actually use this example to point out something to us. In a particular if block, JavaScript will only do one of them. But in this case, you have 2 if blocks. Now, you might ask, what's the meaning of an if block? An if block starts with if. So all of this from here to this place is an if block. And this is another if block, this second one. So whatever happens here does not affect what happens here. Do we get it? Whatever happens here does not affect this. There are 2 different blocks. So JavaScript will only do one out of all of this. And if this one is 2, it will do this also. So for that reason, it will alert good morning and it will also alert Taye Abidakun. Any question? Let's go to the browser and see the results together. You have this good morning. When you close it, you see Taye Abidakun. Question before we move on. Okay. So next is, we want to look at something called logical operators. Logical operators. There are 3 of them that we're going to be considering. The first is not. The second is or. The third is and. So let's pick them one after the other. So to write not in JavaScript, you use exclamation mark. So what we are saying here is this: if num is not equal to 2, then alert Taye Abidakun. If I run this, what do you think I'll see?
Nothing.
Nothing. Good. Nothing. That's because this condition is not met. The condition says if num is not equal to 2. And since num is equal to 2, then it's not going to meet this condition. This is not. So I go to the browser, we are not going to see anything. So let's assume we have else, then it means it's will do the else parts. Alright, let's say hi. So in this case, it's alert hi. Let's proceed. The next thing is or. You use or to join two operators together. When you are using or, if one of the two conditions, remember I said you use it to join two conditions together. If one of the two conditions you are joining together, if one of them is true, then it will do that. But if it's not so, like if none of them is true, it won't. I can make it. If just once one of them, at least one of them is true, then it will do it. If at least one of the two conditions you are joining together is true, then it will do it. But if none of them is true, then it won't do it. How means either this or this. I just need one of them to be true. So I'll come here and get another variable. I can call it variable second, and I have second equals 5. So I can say if num equals to or. To write or in JavaScript, you use this slash like this. You write it twice. That should be shift backward slash. Now, second equals 7. So what do you think I will say? Will I see Taye Abidakun or I will see hi?
Taye Abidakun.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much. I will see Taye Abidakun. Once one of them is true, even though this is false, this is not true, but just because one of them is true, I will say it. Now, the way how works, another thing I want us to know about how is this. If we have 100 conditions joined together with or, even if 99 of them are false, once one of them is true, it will still do it. What do I mean? I'll create another variable here. I can call it variable third. I can say third is, let's say, false. We did something like this yesterday. So this is false, but because this is true, it will still do it. It will still do it. So even if 99 of them are false, once one of them is true, it will still do it. So let's check hand together. For JavaScript to use when you are using hand, both sides must be true before JavaScript can do can run the codes. Both sides must be true. This must be met. Condition at the left hand side must be met. Also, condition at the right hand side must be met. Both of them must be true. If one of them is false, then it won't do it. And needs both of them to be true. So let's take as an example together. So I will come here and say, to write and in JavaScript, this is how you write this twice. Ampersand sign, you write it twice. And second equals, let's say 6. So what do you think I will see if I run this code?
Hi.
Good. This will display hi. Even though this is true, the fact that this is false means it's not going to do it. So I'll give us something called truth table that will make this easy for us. So let's look at the truth table. So I will first write that of or. For or, 2 or 2 is equal to 2. 2 or false is equal to 2. False or 2 is equal to 2. False or false is equal to false. Let me just change this to. So this is for the or. Let's check that out. And for and 2 and 2 is equal to 2. 2 and false is equal to false. False and 2 is equal to false. False and false is equal to false. So for or, the only instance when it's false is when both of them are false. For and, the only time when it's true is when both of them are true. Do you understand? So let's discuss this, how this will help us. This okay, thank you. So let's discuss how this truth table will help us now. Let's look at this. I will add another variable here. Equals to. So we can have this how thought equals, let's say 4. So you might be confused that will it do this, will it not do this? Let's take it step by step. Is num equals to,
Yes.
That is true. Okay. And is second equals 6?
No.
That is false. Or is third equals 4?
No.
That is false. So now, what is true and false?
True.
No, true and false is false. Okay. So that means this, all of this now we evaluate to false.
False.
So you now have false or false left.
False.
So false or false is also false. So the resultant of all of this is false, meaning it's not going to do this. Remember I told us yesterday that all JavaScript is interested in is whether what we have here is true or false. So if it is true, it means it will do it. If it's false, it means it's not going to do it. So in this case, since the resultant of everything is false, it means it will do this I. Do you understand?
Yes, boss.
Okay. Let's check distance. Let's look at another example. So let's take it again. Is num equals to?
Yes.
So, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is this condition true? Second not equals 6. Is it true or false?
It's true.
Okay, that's true. Then, is this true?
False.
That's false.
False.
So, true and true is true. You now have true or false. So, true or false is eventually true. So, meaning it will alert this instead.
I agree that.
Yes. So, let's go to the browser and see the results there. We have this. Let's move on. Let's consider one more example before we leave this part. I'll put all of this and put exclamation mark at the back here. Now, let's discuss what this means. We have all of this, then this exclamation mark. So let's take it together. You have nuts. Then, let's first do whatever is inside this place. Is num equals to?
Yes.
Yes.
That's true.
Okay. And is this condition, is second not equals 6?
It's true.
That's 2.
Yes.
Okay. Or is third equals 4?
False.
That's false.
False.
Okay. What is 2 and 2?
No, false.
Okay.
True.
Because this is 2 and 2 is 2, so meaning everything here is eventually 2. Now, not 2. Not 2 is false. Not 2 is false. So this is false. So false or false, then the final result will be false.
It's false.
Then it will do this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's consider one more. I'll put it here instead. Then I'll put the negation here. So let's check this out. Is num equals to? That's true.
Yes. True.
Yeah, that's true.
And not. Then let's open this bracket. Is this condition true? Yes.
Yeah, true.
So, okay. Or is this condition true?
False.
That's
False.
Okay, good. What is true or false?
True.
True.
That is true. What is not true?
False.
False.
What is true and false?
False.
False.
So at the end of the day, it will do this. it will alert I. Do we get how this works now? Okay, so this is if statement in JavaScript. So let's do a task together. Let's do a task. So maybe you want to do a school grading system. In a school, you can say when students get between, let's say, 0 to 39, we want to display fail. When they score between 40 to, let's say, 45, so 40 to 44, you can say display pass. 45 to 49, you can display maybe 4. Okay. 50 to 59, this one can be okay, credits. 60 to 69, this one can be maybe good or something. Then maybe 70 to 100, this one can be fail. Then what if the user entered minus negative number or a number greater than 100? So negative number or a number greater than 100 will display invalid. Do you understand what you want to do? Yes. Okay, so let's do this task together. I will clear all of this. I will comment out this part. So let's have an input so that the user can enter something there. ID, you can call it maybe score something. Then a button, then you can say grade student, then on click. When the user clicks on this button, you can call on the function grade student. Then we can display the result in maybe in a div or anyway, maybe our tag anyway. So we can call this ID display results. So I'll just use results. Okay. So let's take this one down here so that we can easily see the JavaScript parts. We won't have to be moving about. So what we want to do is the user will first enter a score. After the user enters the score, the user will click on this button. It's going to call on a function called grade students. Let's create the function together. Grade students. So first thing, you need to get whatever the user enters here. So I can create a variable called user score equals to score.value. So this is going to get whatever the user enters here. So you can now say if user score, if let's check it from the beginning. Okay, if it is, we can first undo this part. If it is less than 0 or user score is greater than 100, then results dot inner text equals to invalid. So once it's greater than 0 or once it's less than 0 or it is greater than 100, it's going to do this. Else, if it doesn't meet this, then we can do between 0 to 39. If user score is maybe lesser than 0, no, sorry, greater than 0, and at the same time, user score is lesser than or equal to 39. Remember, you need to put this equals to, because if it's just lesser than 39, if it's 39 exactly, then it means it's not going to do this. Do you understand? Are we together?
Yes.
Okay, user score once is greater than 0 and at the same time is lesser than 39, meaning it must fall within this range. Then results.
Less than equal to.
Result that inner text equals to fail. Then else if
Is it full equal to that?
is that? Oh, thank you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Now next is we want to handle this 40 to 44. If user score is lesser, you say, sorry, greater than 40. Oh, sorry, this should be equal to also. Greater than or equal to 40, and at the same time, user score is lesser than or equal to 44, then you want it to be pass. I'm going to be consistent. Okay. Next, I'll just copy this and I'll paste it again. So this becomes 45 to 49. Then this will be 45 to 49 is 4. Okay, paste. Next is 50 to 59 credits. Okay, 50 to 59, we have credits. Then next, 60 to 69, we have grade. Next, 70 to 100, we have, oh, excellent. Okay. Then we have excellent here. Any question?
Sorry.
Okay.
So I have a question.
Alright.
Sorry, this is my first time of joining the class.
Okay, I'm joining the class. You can watch the previous videos. I've sent them to the group.
I don't know. Okay. Let me ask the question first that has been answered in the previous videos.
Okay.
And I'll go and at what instance do we use .inner text, .value, .html, and the like? I just need clarification.
Okay. You use value whenever you are dealing with editable container. You use inner text when you are dealing with uneditable containers. Then we've discussed what editable containers and non-editable containers are in our previous classes. Then we are yet to address the difference between inner text and inner HTML. Maybe when we are done with this if statement, I'll just briefly talk about the difference between inner text and inner HTML before we go today. Thank you.
Okay.
Do you have any other question? You're welcome. Do you have any other question?
Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir. This last else if. I thought when we are doing the last one, we don't need to put if there.
What happens is if it depends on how you want your code to work. If after running everything, if none of them is true, you still want it to do, maybe if none of them is true, you want it to still do something, you can now end it with a final else. But in this case, I want it to be like this. Let's check all of this like this. Now, I have a question for you now. Why do you think I'm not using and here? Look at others. Others are hand. Others are hand, but this is all. Why do you think I'm not using hand here?
Okay, because if you use and, it means it's a range between that less than 0 and greater than 100. So all the figures in between that number will be affected.
Hmm. Mm, What happens is there is no way a value can be less than 0 and at the same time the value will be greater than 100. Give me any number. If you give me any number, let's say 150. 150 is greater than 100, but it's not less than 0. So meaning that if
Yeah.
this were to be hand, it will never run this. This condition will never be true. Because a number cannot be less than 0 and at the same time be greater than 100. Let's say minus 5. Minus 5 is less than 0, but it's not greater than 100.
Yeah.
And for that reason, it will never come here. Do you understand?
Okay. But
Now, if this were to be or only needs one of them to be true. So let's assume we have 150. 150 is greater than 0. Even though it doesn't meet this condition, it will still tell me invalid.
okay.
Let's assume I entered minus 10. Minus 10 is less than 0. So it only needs one of them to be true. So since this is true, it will give me invalid. Now let's assume I entered 50. 50 is not less than 0. 50 is not greater than 100, meaning it's not going to come here. It will come here to check this. So it will check if it's greater than 0 and if it's less than 39. No, it doesn't mean that. It will come here to check, is it greater than or equal to 40? And at the same time, is it lesser than or equal to 44? Okay, it doesn't meet that condition. Same is not going to meet this condition. Then it will come here and say, oh, is it greater than or equal to 50? Yes. And at the same time, is it less than or equal to 59? Yes. 50 is less than 59 and 50 is equal to 50. So it's going to display this. Do you get it?
Okay, sir.
Okay, let's run it on the browser and see if everything is working fine. So I'll come here and put any number. 43, pass. 80, excellent. 57, credit. Minus 7, invalid. Let's say 3, fail. But we can still improve this code. Remember I told us that the way JavaScript works is that when this condition is met, then it won't bother coming here. Now, if this is met, it won't bother coming here. Aha. So we can now take advantage of this and say that if yes, I want to think how to improve this a bit so that I won't have to keep writing and writing and writing. Okay. We can do this. Here is lesser than or equal to 39 if fail. Okay. So now you might ask that why would this still work? Let's pick a value. Let's pick 120. 120 meets this condition because 120 is greater than 100. So this will give us invalid. Next, let's pick a number like 10. 10 does not meet this and it doesn't meet this. But 10 is lesser than or equal to 39, right? 10 is lesser than 39, right? Are we following me? Am I still here? Can we still hear me?
Yeah, the network was hanging.
Oh. Can we hear me very well now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, boss.
Okay. Can we see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, boss.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, I said, let's assume we want to use a number like 10. 10 does not meet this condition, and it doesn't meet this condition, so it's not going to do this part. Then it will jump here. Does 10 meet this condition?
Yes.
Yes, so for that reason, it will display this. Let's use a number like 42. So 42 does not meet this condition. Now, then, is 42 lesser than or equal to 39?
No.
No. So it will come here, it will check this. Is 42 lesser than or equal to 44?
Yes.
Then it will do this. So the fact that if this is 2, it won't come here. If this is 2, it won't come here. If this is 2, it won't come here. Can make us shorten our codes to this. Do you understand it?
Okay.
So for instance, a number like let's say 50. A number like 50. 50 meets this condition. 50 is lesser than or equal to 59. At the same time, 50 is lesser than or equal to 69. At the same time, 50 is lesser than or equal to 100. So it meets these 3 conditions. But the fact that once it meets this, it won't bother coming here. Do we get it?
Okay.
So we can write it like this.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you so much. So let's do this. Let's see if it's still working fine. Excellent. Pass. Fail. Invalid. This will still be invalid also. Let's say 55 credits. So any question on if statement?
Sorry, please. Can you explain that?
That's what. Oh, your line is breaking. I can't say. I can't hear you. Please, can you come again?
Essentially,
Hello?
hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I said you should explain that line 25.
Okay, line 35. Okay. I said if you use a number like 50. 50 does not meet
25.
25.
25.
Okay. When you click on this button, you're going to call on this function called grade students. Then it's going to get the value, that is whatever the user types here, to get the value and assign it to this variable. So we can now make use of the variable here.
Okay.
Alright. So can we round off if statement? Okay.
Yes.
So let's now talk about, to round up this session, let's talk about the difference between inner text and inner HTML. So let me just let's leave this div like this. So the difference between them is that inner HTML understands HTML code, inner text does not. Although most times you usually use them interchangeably, but whenever you need to write HTML codes within JavaScript, then you use inner HTML. Inner text does not understand it. Let's look at examples together. This is an uneditable container. A p tag is an uneditable container, so you use inner text, and at the same time you can use inner HTML. So I can now say that, let's first do this. Inner text. Inner text just means set the text inside it to hello world. So with this now, the text inside this p tag we change to where will become hello world. Let's run it in browser. We have this. I will change this to inner HTML. Inner HTML. If it's inner HTML, you will still see the same result, hello world. Now, but let's now assume you want to write HTML code here. Let's say you want this to become, let's say strong. You want to use the strong tag. You know the strong tag will make it bold, right?
Yes.
So let's use this. See, it is now bold. But if you do the same thing with inner text, it doesn't understand HTML code, so it will just read it as ordinary text. Can you see the result?
I see.
Inner text does not understand HTML code, while inner HTML does. In fact, you can put some little styling there and it will still work. You can style it. You can still come here and say, let me make this a, let's say p tag or any other tag. Then you can style it and say, let's just use the color. Color equals to blue. Oh. Okay. Okay. What is saying? Okay. Star. Yeah. Oh, it's color. This color is blue. Yeah. So, oh. Remove this now. Okay, color is better. This. We have this as well. So you can still do some styling here. Do some styling there. Although as you learn JavaScript, you're going to be learning some other things. A better way to do this using create elements. You can use create elements and all of that. But as you proceed, you see better ways to do these things. Okay. Thank you so much. You're welcome. So we've come to the end of this session.